Taoiseach, you will recall a number of weeks ago I asked a series of questions in terms of the legislative commitments in the programme for government in relation to health and the whole issue of universal health insurance, and I did so in the light of comments made by the new Minister, Leah Varadkar, in terms of deferring the abolition of the HSC, the officials saying the construct was simply unworkable. And I asked you about the legislative commitment to the Hospital Insurance Fund, the legislative basis for UHI, when would that be enacted? And the programme for government says it would be enacted in the first term, and that the HSC's function of purchasing care for uninsured patients will be given to a hospital care purchase agency, and so on. And the Patient Safety Authority,
where are we going here, Deputy?
The promised legislation will introduce a national licensing system for hospitals and will oversee the transition of hospitals from the HSE to independent local control. Now, I've received a reply, Taoiseach. I must say it's a masterpiece in penmanship from a system really that wants to change track, but hopefully people won't spot it, if you know what I mean. And basically, it now says here there will be no Patient Safety Authority. Now, for 3.5 years, I've been asking you about the Patient Safety Authority on the order of business, and you've assured me that it's coming, it's on the way, and so on. And it says here, the Department of Health is not developing any legislative proposals that would establish a Patient Safety Authority on a statutory basis. The HSE intends to establish a patient advocacy agency, initially within its own.
Sorry, we won't go into all of this in the order.
Okay, but I just want to. This is important, Taoiseach, or Count, because
I know it's important, but not in the order of business.
It is actually central to the order of business because it's a programme for government where we can ask about legislation.
Yeah.
And in essence, the fundamental question is who wrote this? Because not a bit of it is going to be implemented. And the most honest thing you could do is rewrite it, at least, and admit that. I mean, it says here that the future health document that you published, it specifically referred to, quote, reform, learn, reform, unquote, approach. I love that. Which has been taken to the process, which would enable us to make changes in the proposed approach while simultaneously making progress towards the final structures and delivering tangible improvements as we go. Can someone explain that to me? Is that what Minister Varadkar said when he's changing tack?
No, we're not going through the whole programme for government at the order of business.
Reform, learn, reform, approach. And there's more legislation here. The Minister is reviewing. No, it says this is what Minister Varadkar and his department are now doing.
Yeah, well, thanks very much. It's all very interesting, but perhaps you'll find some other way of it.
The bottom line is this, Taoiseach. Will the Taoiseach, will the Taoiseach explain to me where stands the programme for government?
Me all over the chamber wanted to raise issues.
I know,
and I have to listen to a repeat of it. Well, we can all read it if we get a copy of it. Not in the order of business.
But it is an order of business question. It's central to legislative programme.
Respect your other colleagues.
I am. Well, there's another 27 minutes to go.
I know, yeah.
With the greatest respect in the order of business, and there's plenty of time. But this is a very serious matter because the health service is crumbling, Count, and I'm asking where stands all of this 2.5 to 3 pages of legislative commitments made by the government. It's a fairy tale. It was an untruth that was peddled on the people before the last general election, and that has been peddled for the last 3.5 years. And this letter illustrates that.
But I'm not dealing with
in the nicest way possible for the government's perspective, whoever put it together. But it's very clear, and don't please tell us you're going to do it all in the next 5 years.
Yeah, well,
or maybe 5 years after that, because that's the new trick now. Whatever we couldn't do in this 4 years, we'll do in the next 5 years. It was a con job, Taoiseach.
Thanks, Deputy. I think you've made your point at this stage. Thank you.
The Dutch model, remember that Dutch model?
Yeah.
The Dutch model has disappeared.
I think Deputy
is nowhere to be found in terms of a health system.
Thank you.
Con job on the Irish people.